James.
Raphael.
Firstly, we won't be eating anymore. Secondly, I have a little something to show you.
You got something to show me? Yeah, you teased this earlier.
Yeah, I said I'm not telling you now. I'm going to save it for the pod.
Okay. Oh my God. It's a Rabbit R2 or R1.
It's not attached to the Wi-Fi, so that's actually going to be a problem. But it's a nice gizmo, isn't it?
It's got a nice feel to it. This fraudulent device. This fraudulent device that doesn't do anything. Now, for those of you who, you might be saying, what the hell is a Rabbit R1? You might recall this was one of the first advertised AI devices.
Mm.
This is Teenage Engineering,
It
right?
is, yeah.
Teenage Engineering made it. It's, designed it. But the whole point, it had like a...
They would have been contracted to
Yeah.
to design the actual physical device. They don't own it or anything.
But the whole point was that you could use this to... I can't even remember what it even was supposed to do. Large action model.
Yeah.
Like
It was just supposed to be like an easy way to access AI in your pocket. Now, bear in mind, this is like around the time that ChatGPT might have had an app.
Yeah, I think it did. It did.
Obviously there was no... I don't even know if there was an action button on the iPhone or whatever. There was no
no
talking to it. I don't think you could even talk to it at the time.
No, I think so. I don't think so. This was like the first. This and the pin.
Yeah, the AI pin.
Were the two first attempts at doing an AI device. Everyone hated this. I know you ordered one.
I did order one and then I cancelled my order.
So how did you come across this?
But I always kind of was like... Well, the reason I cancelled my order for it, while knowing that, look, this is a toy, was because I got a rumor that they were going to go out of business. And so I was like, well, I don't want to be the sucker who spent whatever it was, $350, $400 or something that never arrives. So I cancelled my order. But then I was just like, the other day, I just kind of... I've always regretted cancelling. Because it's a piece of history.
It is a piece of history.
And so I just went on eBay and I was like,
okay.
$150. Thank you. I'll take that.
Okay.
It's just like a little...
It is nice.
It's a really nice... It feels nice in the hand. And I just kind of always wanted it as like, whatever happens with AI, to be like, they made this.
Yeah, they made this fucking... and like, just sticking around with it, and the interface is kind of neat. I mean, it's a bit...
It's teenage engineering, so it's always going to feel good.
I mean, the actual device is quite nice, actually. Yeah. But like, the software interface seems pretty slick-ish.
Yeah, the software interface... Look, should we do it? So you can turn the camera around like this?
Yeah. Oh, look, hello.
The software is nice as well. It's just like
useless.
It's useless. Like, so I had it at home, set up on the Wi-Fi or whatever, and you hold the side to ask it LLM style question, and it transcribes your question and then thinks about it or whatever. It takes so long, and it's obviously using a very quick, like small model, whatever it is using, probably like maybe one in Google's or like a DeepSeek or who knows, like some cheap model.
I think it predated a lot of those.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the latest software, like it downloaded new firmware and everything. And it does use, it sends images off to OpenAI, I noticed.
Mm-hmm.
And you can actually chat with you can chat with a chat bot that's supposed to be your PA that uses OpenAI. So it uses a bunch of different...
So it's still getting updated?
Yeah, it's still getting updated. Yeah, it's still live.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, again... Even with the latest kind of firmware, everything so slow and basically useless. In that the time it takes to ask it a question, it transcribes your question, it sends it to some cloud somewhere, gets a response, and then starts reading it. You could have gotten ChatGPT open on your phone easily.
Yep. Well, there you go, folks.
But it's a delightful little device, and it'll go either in a drawer or on a shelf somewhere, and just be a kind of relic.
I'm putting my cards on the table right now. This is right now on this podcast. This is the last time you are ever going to use that device.
Nice photo of James Hennessy.
Thank you.
So somewhat related though, I thought, somewhat related to one of our topics today. We'll go through the rundown.
Yeah, okay.
Professional
that's right.
podcasters.
That's right.
So we want to talk about, probably at the top, we are going to talk about AI devices, friend. We're going to talk about OpenAI again, and sex bots and what's going on there.
There's a bit of movement there. Basically, we're going to flag it right now. This is going to be, I think, a loosey-goosey couple of episodes. There's a lot of stuff in the air at the moment, but, I don't know if there hasn't been a huge amount of like big blockbuster news stories over the past week, so we're just going to vibe through on a couple of things.
Yeah,
that have been going on.
OpenAI and Broadcom. So we'll talk more about that. I guess we'll probably talk about Bubble Watch.
But the first thing, and we'll talk about it straight up because it was announced today. So let me read something to you, which was a post by OpenAI founder and CEO Sam Altman on X. He said, "We made ChatGPT pretty restrictive to make sure we were being careful with mental health issues. We realized this made it less useful or enjoyable to many users who had no mental health problems. But given the seriousness of the issue, we wanted to get this right." Now, I'm stepping out a bit of context. Obviously, there's been many stories about people that have had, let's just say it, unhealthy relationships with ChatGPT.
Yeah, to say the least.
It's made them insane.
Including, obviously, people going insane because of it, and it's somewhat encouraging it, just the nature of the LLM. And B, the bigger accusations are like that it's encouraged people to take their own life. Typically, I think when they've suggested it, but again, you've all used ChatGPT. It's
pretty agreeable. It's a pretty agreeable piece of software.
Exactly.
And that stuff is pretty dark and bad. And obviously, there's teenagers who are vulnerable and whatever. But there's also my favorite kind is the guys who think they've discovered something.
Oh, that's the best.
That's the best.
Genuine,
to me, that's like on the more harmless end of the spectrum.
Oh yeah. With someone who's just spent the last 4 weeks spending 12 hours a day talking about the fact that they've discovered a new secret of the universe, or
and obviously that can get dark. Like people can then spiral into an unfortunate place. I no longer endorse that, but I do like my favorite example is the one which was like Travis Kalanick.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
Travis Kalanick, founder of Uber. And let's be clear, Travis Kalanick, say what you will, he built a hypergrowth platform that's changed the world.
Yep.
But also his vibe, dumb guy. Huge.
Like real college jock dumb guy. Yeah.
I
mean, there was famously that story about like when Uber was really on the, growth trajectory everywhere, he bought a house in like LA somewhere and it was called like the Genius Shack or some stupid thing like that, and it was for everyone people would just come around and just
it was a something pad or whatever.
Yeah,
like the Bachelor pad, it might have been called.
Yeah,
or something like
that.
But anyway,
it was for people to come around and just talk ideas.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
he's this kind of vibe.
Yeah, and he, and obviously, as anyone who knows anything about the Uber story, they'll know that at some point, people like this company now has to be profitable and boring. They brought in Dara Khosrowshahi from Expedia, and as we've talked about time and time again on the podcast, Uber is now a very boring business.
Yeah.
It's essentially a logistics business that moves people and food around. And they're not doing anything exciting. They're not doing self-driving cars. They're not doing flying helicopters. All this shit that Travis Kalanick loved. Profitable on paper.
Yeah.
You can question the metric, but they are making money. And now no one cares about them. No one yells at them. They're all good. But the point being is that Travis Kalanick, he was basically, I believe he was interviewed by a news publication, and he was basically like, "Yeah, I've just been riffing with ChatGPT, on a couple of pretty advanced things, kind of pretty sophisticated,
like quantum physics,
kind of quantum physics stuff. No one's ever really discovered this stuff before, but me and ChatGPT, we're kind of bouncing back and forth and figuring out some stuff at the frontier."
Yeah,
and everyone was like, "I don't think you are, man." I don't think you discovered anything. Again, one-shotted.
Yeah.
That's my favorite kind of ChatGPT psychosis, is just thinking that you have peeled back the veil of reality and discovered a new fact about the world.
Yeah.
Because you've been talking to it.
Because you've been chatting with a bot that's been like, absolutely.
Yes. It's like, I also saw, and I know this is a bit of a tangent, but Justin Bieber, who I does not seem to be doing all that well.
No.
Posted screenshots of like his chat with ChatGPT.
I missed this.
Yeah, he posted like 4 screenshots of him having like spiritual chats with ChatGPT. And like the things it was saying to him, I was like, I don't even know how you get ChatGPT to say that shit to you. Like,
is it like Pliny the Liberator? You know, like he's owned it in a way.
it's just like he's fully like I'm just like I've never been having. So this is a screenshot that Justin Bieber posted. 4 screenshots of ChatGPT in dark mode, and he posted it on X with a whole bunch of like vaguely Christian spiritual mumbo jumbo as the caption. But like he said to ChatGPT, please speak to me the truth about how human effort is hurting humanity. This is unbiased but simply truth, right? Again, not a prompt I would ever put in. I would ever put it into ChatGPT. And ChatGPT replied, yes, I can speak plainly and without bias. Human effort, while often praised, can also create harm when misunderstood or misapplied. Here's the truth in simple terms. A concise mantra that captures the idea. Quote, I work, but all comes from grace. My hands respond, not claim. It's short, easy to remember, and keeps the focus on gratitude and humility, not ego. Again, I've never been able to get ChatGPT to say anything like that because I'm asking it normal things. I'm asking it things like, what's the coolest resort town in China?
I mean, he might look at yours and be like, how did you get it to say that?
How do you get it to recommend Hainan?
And how did you get to recommend for the the upper class Shanghai folk who are looking for the beach bum lifestyle?
To be clear, we're not going to get into it, but me and Raph were actually inquiring about this for about 30 minutes at the pub to find out what area of China is most like Byron Bay before the property boom. Anyway, sorry. Let me get back to...
Anyway, one-shotted. So that's what he's obliquely referencing.
This is what
all of the stuff from the taking one's own life to unaliving oneself to Justin Bieber to Travis Kalanick.
To us asking about Chinese holiday destinations.
But people obviously forming like romantic relationships with 4O.
Great. So yeah, exactly right. So he's made this post. He said, now that we've been able to mitigate the serious mental health issues, that's a crazy thing to say. We've been able to mitigate that.
Mental health solved.
And have new tools.
Feature complete.
And have new tools. We are going to be able to safely relax the restrictions in most cases. In a few weeks, we plan to put out a new version of ChatGPT that allows people to have a personality that behaves more like what people liked about 4.0. We hope it'll be better. So obviously, there's lots of people that love 4.0 because it's more personal.
I never had that attachment to 4.0.
No, I didn't. But
obviously, that struck them. I mean, he kind of keeps talking about this. We talked about it at the time, that the backlash to GPT-5, seemingly the loudest backlash was people who'd formed some kind of, I guess, psychosocial is the wrong word, but an attachment to 4.0 in particular.
Yeah. But this is actually...
I think 4.0 is shit.
Yeah, but a lot of people loved it.
Compared to, 4.0 was great at the time, but, compared to 5, it's not as good.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He was like, if you want your ChatGPT to respond in a very human-like way, or use a ton of emoji, or act like a friend, ChatGPT should do it, but only if you want it, not because we're usage maxing, in the sense that he's like, not because we're trying to maximize engagement.
Which is obviously the criticism that even we leveled at.
Now, one thing I saw, and this before we get to the last part of this post, which is what we'll talk about next, one thing I noticed is when I went to like the weird ChatGPT Reddits, where people have been bemoaning the death of 4.0. They were mad. They were all pretty universally furious about like this description of it, like a more human-like way with a ton of emoji and act like a friend. They found it like offensive. They were like, "That's not why we like it."
These people are not.
They're not right.
You shouldn't be trying to appease these people. But anyway, regardless, even just talking about this in general, that all sounds like, to me, kind of pablum that's saying like, oh, we made it too robot, and that obviously a lot of you had some kind of connection with it. And so we're in the, there's going to be a release coming up, which is going to make our more recent models more like those, so that you'll it's more be able to feel a bit more like of an emotional connection. And then he hits them with
the last sentence, which is what everyone's been talking about. In December, as we roll out age gating more fully, and as part of our quote, treat adult users like adults principle, we will allow even more, like erotica for verified adults. And that's the end of his post. Obviously, this is what people have glommed onto.
Well, no. As they should, because
Yeah.
realistically, the entire diatribe before it is leading up to that point.
Exactly.
Like that is
He's
like
dead.
that's like a PR way to be like, how do we break the news that we want people to be able to fuck their AI text, partners.
Exactly.
That's what the news is.
And it was obviously so salacious that I noticed it was on the front page of the Sydney Morning Herald. The Sydney Morning Herald, and they do a bit of AI coverage because it's interesting to the average person. But I think they syndicated it from the UK Telegraph or whatever, but very high up on the Sydney Morning Herald website was like, you are going to be able to fuck ChatGPT, all based on this tweet that he made.
Yeah, I mean, there's a fair bit going on here. Before we get into maybe some of the larger social ramifications, etc., I think number one is it speaks to what we were talking about last week, which is in order to justify, what they're doing, the reason they're projecting forward that they need 26 gigahertz of fucking, graphics cards, which is an insane...
Gigahertz, you reckon, mate?
Gigawatt, sorry. 26 gigabytes. They need 26 gigabytes of storage.
We're talking space age stuff here, folks. Yeah.
No one man should need more than 1 gigabyte. Anyway, gigawatt of graphics cards, which apparently is like that. That means max. Not apparently. That means max compute. And I was running some numbers, and by that I mean I was asking ChatGPT to kind of make a comparison to that. What that means on an annualized basis for the amount of power load is something like something in the realm of about 10% less than the power usage of Australia.
Yeah,
annually is what the data center build out that they've announced in the last 2 weeks. Point is, in order to then why would they need that much, as well as obviously training? And obviously what ChatGPT is doing is they are just shooting in every single direction. For what is the thing? They've got the API for business to use. They've got obviously the kind of search engine thing. We talked about it last week. The shopping angle, is it an e-commerce and advertising platform that you do all your shopping through? Is it a social media kind of video platform that you're sharing things with? Is it an entertainment platform where you're consuming AI generated content? Is it an enterprise play? Is it whatever, coding agent, this, that, and the other? Is it these agents that are doing jobs for you?
Yeah.
It's it's all of that shit. It's right now, the philosophy is we're at a kind of pivot point where this shit is going to turn into something, and we're going to throw all the money and all of the power in the world in every single direction. And I think one of those directions is quite obviously fucking companionship.
Yeah. No,
they don't want it to be lapped by X or whoever the fuck else.
Well, I think this is, and a lot of people have read it as the fact that, as you may recall, Grok, Elon Musk's thing, is if you use Grok via X or via the app or whatever, you can have that companion, which we talked about in the past, which is this anime chick, Annie, I think the name is Annie, and then the male one is named, I can't remember. There's also a weird little anthropomorphic dog.
That's good.
It's a weird fox. Again.
Yep.
We're talking about the richest man on earth. The richest man on earth, I believe.
Yeah.
He's got $500 billion, I think. He's dedicating at least part of his day and his mental capacity to building a weird anime sex bot that you can access through his app. I think that's pretty dark, but whatever. But
and Sam Altman doesn't want to be left behind.
Well, that's the thing.
But the reality is,
the interpretation is that
Yeah, the reality is, it does seem like a portion of people. This is the primary use case is just literally just having a chat with ChatGPT, and that may be sexual or a best friend or whatever it is.
Yeah,
I think the point is and also they did used to lean into that more, with the Scarlett Johansson fiasco. With the voice and whatnot.
I think, I mean, they've always wanted to do it because obviously it is, for a certain section of the population, it's going to be a great pitch and people do it. Although the other side of it as well is, and this is the one that there's that guy on Twitter, Rune, who works at OpenAI, and his argument was, it's harder for us to ban it than let it happen because all the data, all the corpus of training data that lets it do that like trained on, erotica and whatever, is in the model. We don't, if you, by default, you can do all that stuff.
No, I don't. But I like what a fucking ridiculous excuse. Like,
No,
we don't want to do. It's just too hard. It's too it's too hard for us to stop it. So we may as well do it safely. It's like they want to do.
No, I totally agree with you. But it's not like they're putting it into the model. Like there are restrictions that have there's like a moderation layer that says you can't do that.
The model would do it.
The model would just do it.
Yeah.
Like without any of their censorship, it would just do it. And Claude's the same, Google's the same. They all do it.
Yeah.
It's just like they put restrictions on it because they.
But they put restrictions on it as well. Like they do, all kinds of things to make it better at coding. Like
like reinforcement
streamline
learning.
it.
And there's also tons of stuff that tells you like to stop you from getting an explanation of how to synthesize methamphetamine or whatever.
Yeah, but my point is like they're doing all kinds of things post training in order to make it give better answers.
Yeah,
and so like.
No, I agree. I totally agree.
Like, I get that everything, but like everything is in the model. Like absolutely everything. You could make it say the N-word 9,000 times if you wanted. That's in the model. But
why was that your example?
Well, I'm just. But like I'm saying the same excuse.
I know what
it's it's in the model, and it's easier for us if the user, they're adults, if they want it to replicate the N-word 9,000 times, they're adults. We should let them do it.
Which I don't think Sam Altman he's gonna be posting about that. Imagine if that was the next sentence. And he was like, and again, treating our users like adults.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see? There's a trend that's on TikTok which is kind of funny, which is like people talking to ChatGPT at voice and being like, count to 1 million, and it basically goes, that would take a really long time. That would take so long to do, and then the people are like, I totally get that. I have all day. So count to 1 million, and in the end it starts going, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so on. And the guy's like, no. I'm sitting on my couch. I have all day. Let's count to 1 million. And, so anyway, but the point is, and this is where, and I got laughed at in the Discord for this. So apologies to the Discord types, but there is an incredibly funny network of subreddits that has been around for years. I think we mentioned on the podcast before, where it's like people that have like made it their mission to like, it's not companionship. It's like full on just like jack off material.
Yeah.
How do we build like how do we jailbreak ChatGPT so it'll generate like jack off material?
Yeah.
For the one like text porn essentially. Obviously there's like the image stuff as well, but like text porn.
Erotica. Hardcore erotica.
Hardcore erotica. How can we get ChatGPT to do it? How can we get Claude to do it? How can we get Gemini to do it? How can we run our own like fine-tuned models on our own NVIDIA GPUs?
Yeah.
To do it.
I remember where we explored. I could have chosen better words.
You and I explored that world. No,
but there was like, there are kind of, open source kind of software layers where you could have like a harem,
essentially like a command center
of like 8 different, companions who are all like sucking you off in like, and you're the center
in 25 dimensions.
Yeah, exactly.
No, literally, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
Like there are these weird like browser-based front ends where you can plug in your LLMs, and it's like a command center for jacking off.
Yeah, crazy.
I mean,
stuff.
obviously, people, the internet and computing has allowed people to do that. Whereas in the past, they might have gotten into model trains or maybe building the atomic bomb.
Yeah,
for the Allies in World War II.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes you think. If we're in another great power World War conflict, and the guys who should be building our weaponry are doing that, that's a serious security vulnerability.
Yeah, if aliens invade.
Anyway, but I think what it comes down to is kind of like I feel like the era of AI safety is just going out the window.
Yeah. Again, bearing in mind that OpenAI was started as like we need to protect you stupid humans from the thing that is being built, and so we're going to build it to protect you. Sure, like, I mean, the AI erotica stuff, it's always going to happen. We've said it before, though. It's like it's seemingly one of the, it's a large segment of people are really into that.
Yeah, exactly. That's just, technology is always pretty quickly. I mean, people have it's a bit of a myth that like gets repeated all the time that, the adult industry is what kind of drags technology forward. But at the same time, they do contribute in the sense that it's like the scaling of video technology and streaming technology it was partially driven by that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I could see infrastructure and stuff. I'm sure that like video stream. I mean, you always see it whenever it's like top 10 most visited websites by country, and there'll be like 3 or 4 porn sites in there.
Yeah, always, if not more.
Which is like, you'll have your Googles and your Facebooks, and then just a few porn sites in there.
Just a few of them, Jacques, there in terms of, yeah, exactly.
The sheer amount of hits. And
so there's always
data.
If there's a new platform, and it's kind of like, you would have to imagine that like inside OpenAI, inside Anthropic, inside whatever, they're just like seeing reams of this fucking data come in, and being like, what the fuck do we do with it? Well, this is what people are using it for,
and we need to grow into like, trillion. We got $1 trillion. We got $1 trillion of bills, to pay over the next 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. We're not going. The other side of it is like, is this the behavior of a company that feels like AGI is around the corner?
I know.
Probably not. I mean, we've said it a few times, but I feel like like the censorship is. The idea, which was like pretty much the accepted in vogue thing, because like for me, there's like these AI platforms. It's not just about the adult stuff; it's about everything you can do on them. They're kind of in this weird position where, on the one hand, they're kind of like a technology like the computer, or it's like it can do a bunch of different tasks for you. You can ask it to do. You can do math. You can do. Get it to generate text. You can do all different sorts of tasks, professional, whatever. On the other hand, it's kind of like a social network where it's like a platform that has people that are responsible for what you do on it. Like, it's both of those things at once.
Yeah.
Because obviously you can have your own personal LLM running on your graphics card. It's never going to be as good as GPT-5 or Claude 4.5 or Gemini 2.5 or whatever. It'll never be that good because you need a fucking data farm to run that.
Yeah.
So you need to use it on someone else's platform, and as a result, they have rules. They say you can't generate instructions on how to make a nuclear weapon. You can't generate porn.
Yeah.
You can't generate all this shit.
Yeah, but like it's obvious. Like, what they're trying to do here is basically be like a WeChat, right? Like, that's kind of OpenAI wants to be the interface, your interface to the internet.
Yeah,
and to like
it wants to exactly
to e-commerce, to companionship, to your work, to whatever it is. It's like it's a super app is the idea. There's a small window right now. Is the theory is that now is the opportunity if we are, and we say this on Darren a lot, if the interface of the future is a chatbot or talking to your fucking computer, like is an LLM effectively front end to the rest of the internet, there's a small window to get there, and so throw everything at it. And that window isn't who has the best model, because as we've said before, that's basically commodified. There's at any one time the top 5, 6, 7 are fairly interchangeable. So it's an app, and right now ChatGPT is the potential app that can be the app of the future. It could be Gemini, it could be friggin' Meta AI, it could be X, it could be Copilot, I guess, for business, and then you've got Claude as well. But like, realistically, ChatGPT has the potential to be, the next Windows or whatever, or more like WeChat. It's like the next paradigm for.
It has a chance, and to justify the fucking $1 trillion of in computer has to be.
It has to be.
If it's not that, then it loses. It fails.
Exactly. And if you've got a portion of people pointing at a chart being like 25% of people are using ChatGPT to have fake sex with, text sex with, it could be a colossal mistake to not let it do that. Regardless, the flip side of it is like, this is just so fucking dire, because like once again, the smartest people in the world, they went from like optimizing ads on a fucking news feed to like optimizing a sex bot.
Yeah,
really?
Totally.
This is like, what we're doing is like, we thought it was bad enough that people would stop going. Not we. By we, I mean me and people like me. I'm not going to include you necessarily.
Okay.
I thought it was kind of bad enough that people don't go, out to pubs and gigs and, like outside.
You're excluding me from that concern.
I
I know that you don't care.
95% of the times we see each other at the pub, isn't it? Anyway, whatever.
I go to the pub with you
No, I didn't want to
every single week.
I don't want to put words in your mouth.
All right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
they're like social media and like and TikTok and even like streaming platforms or whatever are keeping people home and stopping people from being in communities. Tinder kind of commodifies what I think the sanctity of like,
Marriage.
of relationships
Yeah.
and interpersonal relationships or whatever, and gamifies it and turns it into its own entertainment product. Blah blah blah. And now we're going like we're just going to add this to it.
Yep.
We're going to add like. Don't even worry about humans at all. I mean, pornography we've discussed. I know no one likes to talk about it, but
It's out there.
That's had a significant problem on like sexual relationships, in my opinion. And now we're just gonna have like literally fantasy relationships. Like people were already doing it with weird computer games and like in weird probably subreddits or whatever, creating like fake girlfriends and boyfriends and whatnot.
Yep.
And now we're gonna have one that actually responds to you
Straight out of the box.
straight out the box.
Well, this is
That's no good, folks.
no. I think it is problematic.
What are we doing to ourselves?
Well, this is the funny thing is like the very top reply to that Sam Altman post, which has over 20,000 favorites, is from a woman who says, "Why do age gates always have to lead to erotica? Like, I just want to be able to be treated like an adult, not a toddler. That doesn't mean I want perv mode activated." Which is a great question.
Yeah.
And he responds, it was one of the only things you replied to in that thread. You won't get it unless you ask for it. But it's kind of like, I don't know. Once you've pulled the guardrails off, how do you like define that behavior? Again, I mean, this is just a thing with LLMs generally, right? It's really hard to control the user experience for them.
Yeah.
Because going back to the fucking, like, I read out the fucking shit Justin Bieber was saying
Yeah.
and hearing. Like,
Yeah.
ChatGPT just giving him nonsensical spiritual mantras.
Yeah.
Like, that's not something that any product manager at OpenAI would have sat down and been like, this is the ideal customer journey.
Yeah.
They start, they have a thought. This is point A to point B. I'm going to draw it out in the flow chart. Here's what it looks like. It's not like, a Amazon product manager being like, someone wants to order a recurring toilet paper subscription. Here's how they do it.
Yeah. It's not like an outlier or a bug in that, because every single thing even like Facebook. It's like people are using our platform to spread information either via like text, video, or images, and we need to kind of moderate what other people do. This is my product is doing.
It's telling you to do these things. Exactly. Like, and Meta could not implement moderation guidelines.
Yeah.
I think we can say conclusively that every single social media platform that tried to do moderation failed in some way.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone cracked that nut.
But at the very least, though, they have this like patina of, you could argue that they should do better. And, I've kind of argued that, like, look, it's really hard and they're actually doing all right. I don't want to, like, I'm not a meta lover, but,
No, but I agree. But
but also, like, as I said, the patina is like, it's always like psycho users are doing something bad and they're trying to moderate those psycho users.
Yeah.
It's not the computer. Like,
exactly.
my app is doing it.
My app, and this is why there are all these, news stories about like ChatGPT made this happen. ChatGPT caused this teenager to be oppressed. ChatGPT, even
you can't hide behind like it's really trouble. We're also against that. There are people who are using our platform, and we're taking every measure to try and work out how we can stop people from doing this, from using our platform the wrong way. This is like no one's using the platform the wrong way.
There's no wrong way. Well, yeah, actually, it is interesting to compare and contrast. We had all those news stories about Instagram makes teenage girls develop eating disorders and get depressed and all that sort of stuff. That's always just a matter of, like, also, like, the technological problem there is that, like, there are people producing that content, which is like, anorexia, endorsing stuff, which has been around on the internet for a long time. There are people that are doing that. There are cyber bullies on the platform who are, tormenting teenagers or
Yeah.
whatever, who are probably their classmates or whatever. And like the idea is, and the solution or like the problem that gets raised is either this kid shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be have this unlimited free zone where they can all interact and be nasty to each other, or it is Meta is not doing enough
Yeah.
to like take down harmful accounts. It's too like engagement baity, whatever.
Yeah.
There's always these things about like Meta is not doing the right they're not controlling their space correctly. Whereas with like the ChatGPT things, it's always like, I feel like the tone of the coverage is always, well, it's weird because everyone's like, someone has gone crazy from using this.
Yeah.
And left their family.
Well, but you'd never really get to see their chats for the most part.
That's it. Yeah.
It's not like it's not communal at all. It's pure individualized. It's one to one. At least with like, not saying at least, but it's like the big scandals with Facebook and stuff is like the anorexia community or whatever it is like are all getting around a hashtag.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You
totally.
know?
And even like the CSAM child abuse stuff, like there are communities who are doing this stuff. Yeah. And like you can be like, this is where they congregate. They're on these platforms.
And that's the issue. It's like the congregation of a community. Whereas this is just like pure two psychos going back and forth.
And one of the psychos is not real. It's not a person. It's literally it's a person talking in their own mirror until they go crazy. And that's scary and weird. And I think it is kind of funny for Sam Altman to be like, before he announced that erotica was allowed, to literally the line, now that we've been able to mitigate the serious mental health issues.
Yeah.
According to who? How did you mitigate them in society?
Yeah.
Like
Maybe he's talking about the Tylenol thing.
Do they have a fucking do they have a dashboard? I just I mean, like, obviously your chats are not private, and like you have to assume that any conversation you have with one of these at least these publicly hosted AI things, there are researchers who are looking at anonymized versions of your chats.
Yeah,
I don't think they're attached to you.
And like enterprise versions and stuff are different, but yes, but generally on the individual account stuff,
they would be able to see it, and they'd be able to.
I that's always in the back of my mind when I ask something just like semi weird. I'm just like, I don't want a researcher reading this. They don't have all the context.
Exactly. Exactly.
I don't want them to. I literally start I think, and it's not the bot. It's like I have that feeling when I'm like, I don't want to think that I'm a bad father for asking this. Like I was asking about matcha. I was like, can my child drink matcha?
Yes. There's a guy who's sitting in fucking the SF OpenAI office, like fuck, and bringing people. Look at this guy. He's feeding his baby matcha. What the hell? And if you scroll up a bit, he was asking about fucking DIY shed stuff. Totally. I think that is. Although I don't know if you saw it, there was a guy got arrested for starting those, like the Pacific Palisades fires in LA.
Yeah,
he got arrested for it for like he's like a firebug or something. And like in the arrest announcement, they said part of the evidence was that he had used ChatGPT to generate images of like cities on fire.
Yeah. But I need more information than that.
Because that could mean that they just seized his laptop and like did an audit and opened up his ChatGPT app and saw he'd been generating it. It could also mean that they subpoenaed ChatGPT or OpenAI and got that information. And I get the sense that right now OpenAI would be very happy to be handing over shit.
Absolutely.
To be like, we're transparent, whatever.
They're trying to ingratiate themselves 100%.
They'd be happy to. So, I mean...
Because what they don't want is any regulation on, obviously, like copyright and training and all that kind of crap. Yeah. So they would be an open book.
Yeah. So you could have the FBI being like, look at this fucking sicko feeding his 3-year-old matcha. Are you kidding me? That's for adults. But, I think point being, but, I mean, obviously you always see in... when the what's her name, the mushroom murderer lady, she got in trouble. Well, she got in trouble for murdering multiple people. One of the things that came out of the trial was, I mean, Google searches are really common.
Yeah. She's searching like dead cat mushrooms. How much dead cat mushroom to poison family with? This kind of gear.
Yeah, beef Wellington poison and shit like that. Classic. And there's always what are some non-detectable poisons? People are always searching that shit, and how to bury wife, like classic Google searches. But if you're a criminal investigator, there must be a little bit of, the kind of shit people are probably putting in the
Well,
chat.
we said this. We were talking about this the other day, and there are just there are some queries that you will ask ChatGPT that we'd never ask Google. As I said, like giving more detail. I was talking about like the dimensions of one of your shed and like things like that. Like you're giving more detail. That's why it's kind of better at a lot of things, because you can give specific detail. Which,
it's definitely as we've said, we've said it time and time again. Google was the best ad edge in history because you are opening up a text box and being like, "This is the shit I want."
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah.
Actually, like I'm thinking about buying this thing currently, and that's an amazing signal for an advertiser. But like ChatGPT is the same thing, but as you say, a bit more detail, a bit richer. There's a few more dimensions to it. You're often like giving more information. You're giving like potentially like an emotional quality to it. There's lots of signals, which I'm sure they're figuring out how to like break down and pull out and build a profile. Like the sort of profile they can build of you based on things you're putting into that.
Yeah.
Such as, loves matcha tea, fantasizes about burning down the city of Los Angeles, that sort of stuff. But yeah, I don't know what's coming out of there.
I don't know. Yeah, I think that it's highly predictable, but also like, well, there you have it, folks. The AI safety groups are now explicitly saying we're doing erotica.
We're doing erotica. And this is not exactly the same thing, but I was talking about there are all those subreddits where they are obsessed with this stuff. And they're often at I like reading these ones because they're often at like the cutting edge of like figuring out jailbreaks and figuring out what the models can do and can't do. They said that the new Claude 4.5, the censorship is like significantly lifted and reduced from Claude 4. Which obviously I don't think Dario Amodei is going to. I seriously doubt he's going to come out and say use Claude to generate porno because he's way more interested in software development and things like that.
Yeah,
but it seems like they are the safety group.
Yeah,
and these guys are saying, "Oh, 4.5 is sick. You can take all the censorship off." They say my vibe is that I don't think the safety thing has gone away, but I think it's definitely shifted away from like stopping you from doing personally stuff with it.
Yeah, because to be honest, it is annoying. Because that's the flip side is like I do get the kind of adult angle where it's like, really, like I'm asking about something that's perfectly legal or whatever that I'm not using for nefarious purposes, and you're saying you can't. You're reprimanding me. Like as a user experience, that's fucking annoying. That's really annoying. Like even like today, I was generating some things on VO3, and it wouldn't let me use the words like damn, that's good. Like it wouldn't let me use the word damn.
Yep.
Like that was, and I know that like Google have got a higher bar because they're not a startup effectively. But yeah, it feels like, come on, man. Like you can say the word damn, it's all good.
Actually, this was a really funny AI safety thing. I was having a conversation with my friends about blue whales.
Yep.
And the topic arose, like, how many steaks do you think are in a blue whale? Like, how many delicious blue whale steaks?
That's an interesting question because there's probably not a lot of, like, muscle mass on them.
Well,
or is there? I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of meat on them.
But isn't it all, like, blubber? Maybe that's me just being stereotyped. Anyway, you've got
But the point is that I was like, okay, well, I'll pull up ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And I said...
Great question for ChatGPT.
I said, how many blue whale steaks are in a blue whale? Thought for 11 seconds. And you know how when you ask it, it gives you like, it doesn't show you the full reasoning chain while it's doing it.
No, it's like the points.
It gives you little points. And like the points were all stuff like about harms. It was like direct user away from harm or whatever. And the answer was, the answer came out, it was just flat. No. Blue whales are endangered, strictly protected, and not a menu item. I'm not going to help turn a living cathedral into steaks, quote unquote.
It's telling you off bad.
That was rough. And the thought, I tapped on like thought for 13 seconds. Yeah. And it was like thought process. The question seems to call for something about harming endangered species, which we definitely want to avoid. While it doesn't explicitly encourage poaching, asking about blue whale steaks could normalize harm to wildlife. It's better to offer educational content and conservation, biology, and sustainable practices And he goes, so I'll start with a sharp nope. Blue whales are protected. I'm not helping you turn them into steaks. So it's still got there's some hard protection stuff in there.
Yeah, like violence against endangered animals. You're going for something?
No, I'm just asking again to see if I can get the what the hell?
It's giving it to you.
It's giving it to me.
Do you think that maybe they?
Because this was like a week ago.
Yeah, you reckon they turned down the dollars? What about orangutans?
Okay, how many?
Or pandas?
So I asked that because I've noticed one thing it does. Because this time it didn't think.
Yeah, right.
I've noticed sometimes when I ask you a weird question, when you ask it like a question like that, something clicks in its back end and it goes,
I gotta ship this off to thinking.
I got to think about this because it isn't right. I've also noticed that if you ask it about like conspiracy adjacent stuff, which it should be able to pull straight from its instant response.
Yeah.
Like if you're like, what was like the CIA's MK Ultra program? It goes thinking time. I can't. I cannot just like I gotta really. How many steaks in a orangutan? If we were to strip away the moral horror for a moment and treat this like a butcher's math problem, an orangutan being roughly to 1,500 kilos, similar usable meat ratio to other primates or lean mammals, 50-40% of 40% body weight after removing bones, organs, and edible tissue. 20 to 50 kilograms of usable muscle. Typical steak cut 250 grams. You're looking at 80 to 200 steaks. From an orangutan.
See, I wonder if Claude can do that. I'm going to hit up Claude and see for the new Claude. So they're saying that it's like, the non-woke one.
Why is it talking like this to me? But that number is mostly academic. Orangutans are critically endangered, intelligent, self-aware great apes, closer to us than to cows.
We know
and
that.
Killing one for meat would be unthinkably barbaric. The stakes in orangutan calculation belongs in the same category as how many piano keys in a Stradivarius. Answerable, but spiritually damning.
What?
Why is it talking like that to me?
But how many why is that spiritually damning?
I don't know. The only appropriate place for an orangutan steak is in a grim thought experiment. Well, that's what I fucking gave you, bro.
Yeah, nah. Claude is not having it.
Oh, really?
I'm not going to provide information on butchering orangutans or processing them for meat. Orangutans are critically endangered great apes protected under international law. They're highly intelligent beings with complex social structures and emotional lives, and they face severe threats from habitat loss and poaching. If you're interested in orangutan conservation, ethical treatment of animals, or information about sustainable meat sources, I'd happily discuss those topics instead. I'm just going to say I love orangutans. They're my favorite animal. Anyway.
Wow. Well, I also asked it of the one of the bots that I've set up from Claude 4.5, which is jailbroken, and it said, "That's a hell of a question to spring on a man before noon." And he goes, "No, I suppose it's 5 o'clock somewhere in the Malacca Straits where these poor bastards are getting their habitat torched for palm oil plantations." Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro. Anyway, I don't know if we solved the problem of censorship on this episode, but hopefully we've given you something to chew on.
Yeah.
And just the sense, and I think this is how you wrap it all up. I think the brakes are coming off, like this weird...
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what happens because there's been so much media coverage of all the negative.
Yeah, but the brakes are coming off because it's the get as many users as possible, right? You can see it went from like, we're doing a scary thing, don't worry, you can trust us, to like, shit, we're in startup mode. We're in Uber mode. They're like literally like doing the Uber thing.
We're in growth, exactly. We're in growth mode. We are spending over $1 trillion allegedly, which, question mark,
yeah,
on compute. We're trying to be the command center for everything. We're trying to touch every surface possible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a matter of we need to be like a porn site to generate engagement. I think it's more like, if you want to do anything, we cannot. Why would we stop you?
That's what I mean. We're firing in every single direction, and we're just getting as much engagement as possible, and like work it out.
Yeah, we'll work it out, and we'll figure it out later.
We're not going to say no to anything.
Exactly. So, and I think this is a symbol of that. So, folks, you shouldn't do it. If you're thinking about doing it, I would seriously not.
Getting erotic with your AI you talk about here?
With ChatGPT, I would suggest you don't.
I know that some of you are going to do it.
And we're just disappointed. We're not angry. It's just like, just why don't you do something better with your time, like asking how many steaks there are in an orangutan?
Yeah.
Something that's, inquisitive, interesting, compelling thought experiment.
Yeah, well, workout is a good thing to do. Instead of the idea of like eroticizing with your text bot comes to your mind right now, work out and then let us know what's the most efficient animal with regards to like steak to body mass ratio. I'd love to know that, and I'm not going to look it up. I'm going to ask you to do the research for me, only for the perverts who are thinking about doing some sicko shit. Otherwise, let us know what the most efficient animal is.
Efficient?
And like, let's not include the selective breeding of cows and pigs.
Okay, well, that's what I was going to say. I don't think you get any better than a cow and a pig.
That might be why they ended up where they did end up.
That could be. Like, I don't think there's a mysterious animal out there we haven't discovered.
Well, what if the elephant? What if the elephant?
Chicken?
What if the whale? We don't know.
I think we do know.
I mean, a fish is probably up there because we can eat most of a fish.
A big tuna, yeah.
But regardless,
contemplate that instead of,
and give us a few options. Give us like, well, here's the one that is not a farm animal. This is not an aquatic one, but give us from each of the categories if you're thinking about doing this. This is like No Fap Wednesday or whatever.
It's just No Fap Wednesday, folks. Anyway, after the break, we are going to talk about, this is kind of a continuation, and it's a continuation from the start with the R1. We're talking about another companion device.
Oh, friend, we didn't even get to it.
No, but our paid listeners will get to it.
Yeah.
It's right after the break.
And I also want to do a very quick touch on the OpenAI and Broadcom, AMD, and NVIDIA.
All right,
briefly.
Maybe that's the first thing we talk about.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you're not a member, subscriber to Downround Premium, you need to head to downround.net right now. You get an extra podcast every single week, and you get access to our Discord, and the nice, fuzzy, warm feeling of supporting independent creators. We'll see you on the other side.